Hey everyone, Merl here. In this video, this is a question, as well as later on in the video, I'm going to do a rant. And it's about the junk parts that we get nowadays. Are they junk? So backstory to this one. Oil pressure sending unit. Third failure. Brand new units. I didn't cheap out. This truck I'm cheaping out on. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to change the sensors. So I threw in one sensor, two sensors, three sensors, two fires so far. I'm on the dyno creating a bunch of heat doing tuning and not acceptable. It's gotten so bad that I had to take my socks off because I'm running out of rags cleaning up oil from this thing. So is it the sensor or is it the engine? I'm going to find out. I'm going to data log to see what kind of oil pressure I get. But I took and have now went and found an oil pressure sensor that is an old GM one, the one with the green dot on, and threw it in here. I fired it up and it is reading, so it isn't failed because those ones fail and the gauge quits reading. Now, I have had to fix my wiring harness twice in here, and it's making me rethink how this engine was built, what's going on, and that is my little bit of a rant. I've been around for a little while and I've seen lots of things, but the one thing that I haven't seen and didn't see in the old days is we would get these oil pressure sending units or any other car part, and you would diagnose something and you're like, yeah, we got it fixed. You'd put the part in and you'd be driving down the road and there was no issues with the parts. Now these young guys, well, what they have to do is they're probably not that confident to begin with. And then they diagnose something, they change the part and they go, that didn't fix it. They rethink themselves. They're losing confidence. So then they diagnose it again. No, I'm sure it's the part. They may put in a few different parts and it still doesn't fix it until all of a sudden, it was my fault. But do you think that that's going to beat up on these young mechanics? Their confidence? It's terrible. And the problem is what are we doing about it? We need to be able to fight back with this junk. And I don't know how to do that. I'm hoping that some of you have an idea how we can actually help get rid of this whole throwaway society, everything. We all love it so much because it's cheap, but is it really cheap when you're losing techs, when you're basically collapsing your world? What is the solution? All right, so I'm in the truck here. I data logged the oil pressure and 83.1 PSI. And there is no fresh oil leak. There's still an oil slick underneath from before, but I did 3 pulls. The highest that I saw in those was 80.1, and this pull 83.1. Well, it's time to finish my rant because I can get back to tuning. But what are we going to do? I'd really like this conversation to get going. How are we going to deal with this? Who's going to pay for the oil? Well, much less. Who's going to pay for the fire damage, the oil all over the shop? There's a mist of oil in here. And who's going to pay for these young guys' confidence? Like, we're going to be ending up losing a bunch of these young techs because of confidence. And that is just not acceptable. So I don't know. I'd love it if you guys would comment and we could really get this conversation going. It'd be nice that we could affect something bigger than just our conversation. Not sure how to do that. But if you don't mind, drop those comments in the comments and please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching.